Why, hello there, crewman. It's good to see all of you. Seems that you've decided to join me and Dexter. Just the two of us while we go ahead and lay the daily dabble down on you. But before I get into that, gonna have to go ahead and hit you with that disclaimer, but I'm not much for jutsu, so... The views and opinions expressed in this show are those of me, myself, and my dog, and do not reflect the views and opinions of associated brands, figures, ninjas, or magical girls. Oh yeah, and some commentary may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Crewman, I'd love to take this opportunity to talk to you guys a little bit about something that just happened a few days ago. 420 went by, and the Mavocats were actually part of a wonderful festival out at Triangle Arts. A lot of people came out and showed their support for the little five-pronged leaf that could, and many of them smoked to their delight, free of worry and bother. But unfortunately, it seemed that even though they were all enjoying themselves, the art, the music, the poetry, many of them didn't seem to be very well informed on the local laws pertaining to it. Most people hear the word decriminalized and think that that means legal, that you're free to just enjoy the herb at your leisure, so long as you're not bothering anybody. And they're partially right. Back in 2019, here in Middle Georgia, it was passed to make marijuana decriminalized here in the state. So long as you have less than an ounce on you and no paraphernalia, you would be hit with a $75 fine, but you'll find by the end of this little chat that's not necessarily true. However, the House and Senate met on the 6th of this month, and a bit of push and pull occurred. And with that, how's about we get into the news, And we'll chat a little bit afterwards. More than 20,000 Georgians who were hoping the legislature would kick-start the state's stalled medical cannabis program lost their chance for the year Monday after the Senate failed to approve a last-minute compromise. I'm at a loss on that, House Speaker David Ralston told reporters. How long are these people going to have to wait? I'm really disappointed. We worked. We couldn't get the state to engage very much on the conference committee. We thought we had them engaged. They came back with a conference committee report, and they put it up, and it gets beat. I hope the families of Georgia know that we gave it our best shot. The blame is over there, as far as I'm concerned. That's never a good sign, is it? Whenever things get so divisive. You know, I understand that people have their beliefs, and oftentimes those beliefs divide us up by factions. It's almost like it's human nature. But I really wish that our representatives could try and see past that for the greater good of the people. But hey, what can you do? In 2015, the state legalized a form of low-THC oil for a list of specific medical conditions. Georgia's law does not allow for smokable marijuana. Keep that in mind. Only a specialty substance that contains a very small amount of the chemical that causes marijuana's high, and only for people with serious conditions including seizure disorders, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and cancer. But legal threats and accusations of inside deals have stalled the state's in-state cultivation program and forced patients to continue to leave the state or skirt the law to buy the medicine they're legally able to possess, but not buy here in the state of Georgia. Relief appeared to be in sight as a committee, including members of the two chambers, formed a compromise designed to get the oil into the hands of patients and families. That ray of hope. Under the compromise deal, the state would have reopened the process for 3 more facilities in addition to the original 6 that were granted preliminary approval. The 63 companies that originally applied but were not approved would have been eligible and exempt from paying the application fee again, provided they withdrew from protests or lawsuits against the state. Odd that, if you want to do what you will, you're not allowed to speak out against things that you view as an injustice. Last time I checked, that was a right as an American. But, I have been wrong before. The House agreed to the measure 95-73 on Monday night. Looking good so far. We finally come up with a plan that is fair to all concerned, said House Majority Leader John Burns, a Newington Republican. This addresses a need, a desperate need, for the citizens of our state to utilize this product that makes a huge difference in the health of the people of this state. The Senate was less happy with the terms of the arrangement. Senate Minority Leader Gloria Butler, a Stone Mountain Democrat, moved to table the legislation, preventing it from coming to a vote. Her motion passed 28-27. Man, so close. Despite pleas from the bill's sponsor in the Senate, Savannah Republican Senator Ben Watson, we've been working on this for 10 years. We have not gotten this oil to the children that they deserve, Watson said. That is what the children of the state of Georgia and all those registrants deserve, getting that oil to them. You know, it's odd. Failed by one vote. Just one. And a lot of these people, a lot of these senators, especially here in Georgia, it's one of their main running points, actually, that they're going to make it legal. They're going to make marijuana legal. If I remember correctly, a certain president that is currently seated and his vice president were all on board until suddenly they weren't. Even odder that it seems that the Democrats are the ones that keep stopping it. And I can't help but wonder why. I mean, is it really hurting them? I mean, here in Macon Bibb specifically, that $75 fine kind of appears to be bunk. They quite literally mean an ounce, or I'm sorry, let me be more specific, less than an ounce. But if you happen to have, I don't know, rolling papers, a grinder, if it's split within multiple bags, heck, you could even have some Black and Milds next to it. All of these things count as paraphernalia, which they can charge you for. And oftentimes, instead of that $75 fine, you'll just find yourself in jail regardless, because they hit you with intent to distribute. Less fortunate are those who are Mercer students who, if they're apprehended with it, they don't get the fine no matter how small it is. Doesn't matter if it's a gram, doesn't matter if it's an eighth tight super pack. It doesn't matter if it's a half-smoked blunt with nothing else near it. It just goes to their court. And, well, you're probably going to lose your scholarship, get expelled, sent home, etc. Strangely enough, after 2019, a lot more drug busts started to happen. It's almost like whenever they apprehend those students and ask them where you got it, part of their deal is you tell us where you got it. And maybe you won't lose your scholarship. Maybe you'll get to keep attending. Odd that. Even odder that, again, the Republicans seem to be the ones that really want this passed. And yet, the Democrats are the ones that are ready to bar it at any time. The fact that that Stone Mountain representative straight up tried to table it and won by one vote, guys. Just one. It's kind of mind-blowing. And in many ways, to me, it just feels unfair. Is it really hurting them? It couldn't possibly be. They're, for the most part, affluent people that don't really have much of a care in the world except for to make sure they get voted for again. But I don't think they really care about that. You see, most people, when they go to vote, they check the box to a name that sounds familiar, rather than looking at the policies. And even still, those who do look at the policies oftentimes get duped, tricked, straight up lied to. The last DA we had win the changes were made in 2019 here in Middle Georgia, was the one responsible for said change. And now our current one is the one who has made it up to officer discretion. There are several in our Senate who blatantly yell that they refuse to allow the devil's lettuce to be grown here in the state of Georgia. And you can't help but wonder, is that really the biggest point of contention we have? And if so, why? Last time I checked, more people lose their lives drinking and driving than they ever have sitting at home smoking a blunt and ordering a pizza. Now, I'm not one to approve driving while smoking. That's just stupid. Not everyone can handle a high as well as certain folks. And in all honesty, it is an activity that should be reserved for when you don't have to go anywhere or do anything, operate any big machinery, etc. Just like any other substance that's meant for you to have a bit of fun, you should do it in a responsible manner. Which, for the most part, most stoners do. Heck, not even stoners. Most smokers do. Anyone that indulges, for the most part, just does it to unwind at the end of the day. For a lot of people, their blunt that they rolled, a couple of tokes on it, it's as good as a beer right after a long, hard day's work for them. And yet, they can't do that without potentially running the risk of losing everything now. To go even further into it, the oil that is approved, as I just read, you can't even get it here in the state. And the few people that got approval haven't been able to produce any yet. Because of this tug of war going on in the House. Because of fear of inside jobs and all these other ridiculous accusations. Instead of just letting people either utilize something that helps them get through the day or eases their pain, their anxiety, their traumas. I will never understand why it is that on this very same day, gambling got approved and is going up to be voted on by the whole of the state. Betting on horse races and all of this. More than likely that's going to get approved and we're going to wind up with a casino here in Macon, which I have to know. Who needs that? I mean, okay, you guys are against people smoking a blunt because, oh, it's so evil, but gambling isn't? You know, last time I checked, weed might be the devil's lettuce, but isn't gambling a sin too, if we're going to go that route? Many of the people that live here are impoverished. This is not a rich town, contrary to what people in one area code would have you believe. And with that said, I can't help but get a little perturbed when I think about it. You're about to approve a casino to go in one of the poorer sides of town. A side of town where, as it stands, if there are slot machines in the gas stations or in the quickie marts around here, people spend their entire days rolling slots. And you want to put that in what used to be the mall. And more than likely, you're going to. It almost seems like they don't want marijuana approved, legalized, and free for people to grow and cultivate because they can't profit off of it. Now, granted, if you did legalize it and you made it to where there were dispensaries, you could tax the ever-living shit out of it, and the state would be able to make all kinds of money. But a casino would be easier, wouldn't it? Especially with modern-day slot machines. They're mostly computerized. You can definitely make it to where more people lose than win, and the state is definitely going to rake in tons of money from it. Heck, the state of Georgia makes a killing off of the lottery itself. I think many of us that live here in Macon Bib, while standing in line at a gas station have been held up for 5 to 10 minutes while somebody desperately tries to pick that lucky scratch off, or 2, or 3, or 4. You watch as the same people that you see every day play the same numbers on repeat, just hoping to get lucky. It's okay for them to spend money and potentially never get anything their entire lives. But it's so wrong for them to be able to just relax at home, roll one up, turn on some TV, and kick back. And the only reason why I can see why that's not going to get legalized like it should, well, it's because they can't profit. Because you can't profit easily. Yeah, you can drink like crazy. There's open container here in Macon Bib, for crying out loud. A city that has a massive problem with gun violence allows for open container drinking downtown. But not weed. Heck yeah, let's just go ahead and make the booze legal. Make the thing that heightens aggression and leads to conflict and leads to shootings and leads to fighting. Let's have that be totally legal. Let's let somebody walk down the street with a fifth. That's totally okay. Let's have somebody spend their entire check gambling, and we'll blame it on their poor impulse control, and that's totally okay. But they want to have a blunt to relax at home? They want to have a smoke to ease their anxiety, their PTSD? Give themselves a bit of relief from chemotherapy? Or other harsh, hard-on-the-body therapies and regimes that they may have? What's that, buddy? You got glaucoma? Too bad. Oh man, you got really, really bad arthritis? Shame that. Here, take these over-the-counter methamphetamines, and that'll do you right. Go ahead and mix that with a beer while you're at it. The fact of the matter is, I find it not just unfair, but ridiculous. Something that would actually keep people safe and more relaxed, that would ease tensions in a town that is nothing but sometimes. And you make acquiring it one of the most stressful things that a person could ever deal with. I would say do better, but I don't know. I don't feel like they can. I don't feel like they want to. Because you see, to do better would mean the members of House would have to be honest when they campaign. That would mean they'd have to keep their word. And it's not just them that needs to do better. Our citizens need to be better informed, kept up to date on these policies. You know the funny thing? I tried to do a little bit of homework. I do enjoy doing my homework. The most cooperative police in the whole town were in fact the Mercer police, which is why I got the information specific from them about how they handle marijuana. All the others? Transfers. Meetings canceled because people didn't show up to work. Or, my favorite one so far, when I did call the DA's office, I was asked who am I and told that they weren't comfortable answering any of my questions. It seems that even when you want to help, and even when you want to understand, they don't want you to understand. In fact, it seems that they want you to stay as confused and as lost in the sauce as possible. And the only way that's going to change is if we don't let them do that anymore. Odder still, that even when this was on the table, They said, hey, we'll waive the fees for you and everything, but any protests or any negative views you had about what we're doing, you have to drop that. You're not allowed to speak out against it, okay? You can't have organized anything to say we're fucking up. You can't have organized anything to criticize us in any way. You gotta let that go, and then we'll approve you. If that ain't some crooked bullshit, I don't know what is. And you know, I'm a bit of a country boy by trade, crewman. I know bullshit when I smell it. The thing is, your average person that's looking to smoke, they're not looking for trouble. They're just looking to relax. They're looking to have some peace. They're looking to have a little bit of fun. Same as somebody who wants to have a beer in peace at home. And yet, they're denied it. Those people who are terminally ill and don't want to pump their body full of a bunch of pills and Lord knows whatever else. They can't have that. They can't have an option. And even the ones that do get it, even the ones that are approved for the low THC oil, even the ones that go through the task of getting a card for said oil to go to a dispensary, their best bet is to go to Florida to get it. And most people, especially in a poorer section of a state like Middle Georgia, they just can't afford to do that. Most people are working multiple jobs around here. Nobody has the time. Nobody has the funds. Hell, most of the people around here can't even afford insurance or a proper tag on their car, and you think they're going to be able to drive a state over just to get a little dab of oil? It's just not plausible. It's not feasible. It's just something that is being hung over their heads so that folks in the house can keep their jobs. I guarantee you, they all smoke. They all do far worse than that. Every day we get new reports of senators and House representatives doing cocaine and having orgies and all the things that they would say is a degenerate, horrible thing to do. They seem to do en masse. I doubt marijuana usage is any different. But rules for thee and not for me seems to slowly be becoming, or maybe it already has become, the new American way. Man, do I long for a day where it's just, as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you're minding your own, taking care of your neighbor, taking care of your family, paying your bills, keeping your car registered. As long as you're doing those basic things, no one should be bothering you with what you do in your home. That's the whole purpose of being able to go home and kick up your feet, isn't it? To do it in peace and not be bothered. And yet, here we are dealing with this. Here we are yet again, begging for them to just let us have some peace, where the state isn't able to take a cut. Because if it were completely legalized, people probably wouldn't go to dispensaries for the most part. I'll give the state that. Even if you did make it to where, you were to tax the ever-living shit out of an eighth, and you were to make it to where instead of like $25, $30, an eighth was going for 40 or 50, like it is over in California where people have money to burn. Even if we were to do that, most people would probably just grow themselves a plant in the backyard, and you can't monetize or monitor that. And even if they were to just grow it in their backyard and say they weren't selling it, they'd probably just be like, oh, nah, man. I got some right here in the back. Here, I actually got some drying over here on the rack, bro. You can just take yourself some. Go ahead. Because that's how people are here in the South. We feed each other. We look out for each other. And we will smoke each other out. But that's what they're worried about. I do wonder why it is they're so worried about us getting along with each other. Looking out for each other where they can't look out on us. Not to get too conspiratorial, but they are the ones that set the table. I'm just telling you what I see on the plate. But either way, crewman, I know you're all smart. Keep your heads low. Try not to draw any attention to yourself. The less attention you draw to yourself, the more likely you are to do what you want. Sad that as good old-fashioned Americans, we have to actively fear our government, our leadership, rather than know that they support us. Now, these few Republicans that were really heavily on it, again, I'd really like to emphasize the interesting part here. Everyone thinks the Democrats are all pro-weed, and they're not. And I really feel like a lot of you guys in, northern Georgia, Stone Mountain, Gwinnett, Fulton, you jerks, you narcissists, you guys, yeah, all of you guys over there at Little 5 Points, yeah, you guys, yeah. I feel like you guys are a big reason why these jackwagons keep getting elected, because you see Republican and you shit yourselves and you think, oh no, we can't let them. No, they're the bad guys. Guys, listen. This is not World of Warcraft. It's not the Horde versus the Alliance, okay? Okay? This is not Halo. It's not Team Red versus Team Blue, all right? That's literally not how it works. You kind of have to vote based on the policies that people have, because when you don't do that, when you just vote for the people that pander to you, this is where we end up. We end up confused, and we end up wondering, well, why did that get reversed? I thought that was legal now. Well, no, dude, it never was. It never will be. A changing of the guard is definitely in order. They know that. But they also know that your average Joe is a little too lazy to look into it. But I know you all better than that. Dare I say it, I've got faith. Now, I don't have faith in a higher power, but I do have faith in humanity. I do have faith in people, and I have faith that people have the ability to learn. And I'd love it if all of my friends that were suffering from terminal illnesses, like I have in the past, didn't have to go through everything that I had to go through. Could find some relief in a lovingly rolled joint. I really do. I also really hope that one day we'll be able to look to our representatives and go, yeah, that guy right there actually cares about people here. Actually cares about people in our town. Actually cares about people that don't have enough money to fund his campaign. But hey, what would I know? I'm just a pirate. But anyway, if you guys enjoy this intimate little chat, if you guys are wanting more, heck, if you have a topic that you'd like me to go over, please, by all means, hit me up in the comments. I would love that. If you don't agree with what I have to say, phew, man, hey, I love critique. Hit me with it. Harsh, quick, fierce. And if you don't have any true opinion and you just want to tell me good job, that's nice too. Anyway, my dog needs me, crewman. And me, well, we know what I need. I need you to like. I need you to subscribe. For real. Come on. We need this spread around a little more. I'd like it if we could all just talk and educate each other. Because the way they see it, we're all better off fighting. We're all better off confused. But I think we all know better. Anyway, I'm out of here, folks. Maximum burn, pedal to the metal. TTFN. Captain loves you.